Today, we're diving into a topic that touches the lives of millions of women, menopause. We're fortunate to have three incredibly knowledgeable women with us, each bringing a unique perspective to this important conversation. Together, they'll shed light on the realities of menopause, debunk myths, and offer guidance for navigating this significant life stage. Katherine Ambrose, with her decades of experience empowering seniors, understands the holistic impact of life transition. Dr. RHEA ROGERS, a board-certified OBGYN, brings her expertise in hormonal health and wellness, offering valuable medical insights. And MELANIE HALL, a nurse practitioner specializing in hormone optimization, provides a practical, patient-focused approach to managing menopause symptoms. Thank you, ladies, so much for being with us today. Such an important topic. I think the very first thing that we want to talk about is menopause and perimenopause. So, Dr. RHEA, we'll start with you. What is menopause?
Well, the classic textbook definition is the loss of hormones with no cycles for 1 year or more. However, if you've had a hysterectomy but you still have your ovaries, you can confirm that with labs. And so sometimes maybe you won't have a cycle for 3 or 4 months. You haven't met the criteria, but the labs will show you're probably not going to have another cycle and that you have hit that period. Understanding that it is the decline or the absence of the hormones, but the decline starts way before that and is typically just perimenopausal.
And that's when you'll start seeing what? Hot
many
flashes?
People will have still symptoms. You know, people will have different areas of symptoms, when you say, and I tend to tell them it depends on how in tune they are with their body. So maybe someone will have hot flashes, night sweats, and they're not menopausal, but they have a drop in one of their other hormones, or maybe they don't feel anything and don't realize that the decline of their hormones are going to be detrimental to their aging.
Yeah, and Melanie, for you, you learned and trained into this whole thing. Kind of describe what you see with menopause and describe the difference between perimenopause and menopause.
Menopause is basically 1 day. It is the day that you haven't had your period for a year. Everything after that is post-menopause. Perimenopause is leading up to that, where things start to change. Your periods either get longer apart or start to become irregular. I know that I felt symptoms in my late 30s. I didn't realize that it was perimenopause. I just thought I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, and Katherine, for you, I know you look at seniors and how we can continue to live. What have you seen with women who have not had the replacement therapy compared to women who have?
I've witnessed people age backwards with the right kind of treatment. And so this is a very youthful topic for me because I'm normally talking about people that are in their 70s, 80s, and older. The crazy thing about this is when you're going through menopause, that is usually when a lot of other crazy stuff is happening, where you have adult children that you're helping, maybe you have grandchildren, and you may be guiding aging loved ones and having challenges with career and everything else, just balancing it all. And so I say, see a trained doctor that can make sure you are optimized, that you are as healthy as can be so you can deal with everything else you've got going on.
Oh yeah, and I know even for me, my kids one's moved to Florida, the other's in college. I'm having hot flashes, I can't sleep, and it just all adds up. And you just start thinking, is this my life for the rest of my life? And it sounds like it doesn't have to be.
To me, I'm probably happier than I've ever been. And I feel like I am the woman today that I kind of wanted to be 20 some years ago.
Well, I think we always look at hormones as feeling good. What people are missing is disease prevention and healthy aging. There's a huge disease prevention. Like Melanie said, you know, the #1 cause of women's death is heart after menopause, and there's a reason. But you can, even with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all those different things, you can actually reverse those chronic diseases if you optimize hormones.
Interesting. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about how men face these same changes. We did a little bit, but we'll talk more about that. And we'll also talk about how society's changed a little bit. We're talking more about this, so stay with us. And welcome back. We are talking about menopause and life changes when we get to a certain age and how we don't have to deal with all of those hot flashes, mood swings, night sweats, just all the changes that we go through, because there is help for all of us. We talked a little bit about women and what we go through, but what about men? Melanie, let's start with you.
Okay. So a lot of men come to me, like their wife has been optimized now and they're feeling great, and the men are like, I want to feel like her. So they come to me, and it's not just about libido. Yes, some testosterone is going to help with their libido, but it helps with energy. It helps with their stamina. So they get home, they have dinner, and they don't feel like they're going to fall asleep. They can get up and go mow the lawn that night. Helps with brain fog. They're able to perform better at work. And then they have a lot of long-term benefits as well.
Yeah, and Catherine, you have this example from your own home life. Talk a little bit about what you and your husband went through.
Well, I felt a little rooked by the time I got to have a relationship with Dr. Rogers, and then my husband did, in that, oh my gosh, if we would have understood this, he could have prevented some serious heart challenges. And listening to her, I was just thinking that these hormones also give us a competitive advantage at work, too.
The brain fog.
Yeah.
Yeah, focus.
And, you know, as we get older, we have to keep our edge. We have to keep our edge. You know, we have the wisdom and experience in our careers, but you want to keep your edge.
And you feel like your husband may have not had heart issues had he gone earlier in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Dr. Rogers, you can talk a lot about this for men. And
A perfect example is my husband. My husband had thyroid issues, congestive heart failure, to the point where he couldn't even hardly walk. And between optimization of hormones and peptide therapy for the cardiometabolic optimization, people can't, they're like, whoa, look at him, you know, the weight is down and all that. But it's just so much more to these hormones than, yes, you want to, we say you're using them to look good and feel good, but you want healthy aging.
How does it help with your heart, for example?
So the estradiol will help to decrease plaque. So that's the health benefit in women. If you get their levels optimal, then you will reverse plaque in the arteries. But it has to be oral. It has to be oral 17 beta. Everything else will help you feel good, but it won't reverse the plaque.
And we talked too a little bit about how people aren't talking about this, but I feel like it's become more common.
Absolutely.
You know, I know hormones have been around for ages, but it was the chemicals that were causing the problems. Now the studies have shown these more natural bioidentical hormones are what are okay for all of us. Why do you think people didn't talk about this?
Just being uncomfortable, and I just think the stigma of being an older woman, maybe being less desirable, less interesting. I just think
and seen as the normal part of aging.
Yep. Yeah.
We have the opportunity to stay really younger and more active longer, thanks to modern science and the breakthroughs coming through. And like the GLP-1s, you hear a lot of discussion about that, pros and cons, but what you don't hear is that you also want to have hormones optimized to make the GLP-1s work better.
So the biggest thing is what happens as we age. We lose muscle, right?
Right.
So go back to all the disease states of loss of muscle, loss of blood perfusion and all that. And if you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, then you can treat it appropriately.
And bone density is another.
Definitely.
Yeah. If you lose muscle, you lose bone.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize.
Yeah. And I think too, I remember even, 5-10 years ago, women especially would be embarrassed. If they were having a hot flash, they would just have a little fan on their desk and kind of hide it. But I feel like it's so much more open now. People are not afraid to carry that fan around and talk about it. Yeah, I haven't had a period in a year. I guess I'm in menopause. And I guess advice for women out there who may be watching, who might think, okay, well, I'm only 40. Should I go? Should I have my hormones checked? And who will check them? Do you have to go to a special doctor, like one of you?
I would.
I would.
Because if you go to your generalist or even the general OBGYN who's not trained in it, first of all, if you're having a cycle, you're not menopausal, unless it's a postmenopausal bleed, and you've gone with it. But for most women, the other part that you have to get to, it doesn't matter how young you are, because now age, with obesity epidemic we have, you have a lot of young girls with PCOS. That's insulin resistance. That's a hormonal hit.
What's PCOS?
PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Oh.
And that is where you have insulin resistance that's creating havoc. Everybody with PCOS has insulin resistance. In a sense, they're pre-diabetic. But you have to find out what's driving their PCOS.
It's all one component. How busy are you, Melanie?
We're pretty busy. We're usually booked up for a week at a time. Usually takes a week or so to get into us. But you know, just helping people is what we really strive for. So if it's something that you're looking into, I mean, we do free initial consultations. You know, there is a charge for labs and stuff like that, but it costs nothing just to ask questions the first time. So I like to be open to as many people as possible. Just to get that education out there. My passion is educating women to empower them to live a longer, healthier life.
Yeah, I love it. Well, when we come back, we're going to take some questions from some of our viewers, some very interesting questions, and see how our panel addresses those. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We are here with a panel of experts on menopause, hormone changes in our lives. We are going to take some questions now from some of our viewers. Catherine writes, I recently found out that shoulder pain was the result of menopause, perimenopause. Are there other random pains that are caused by hormones? She's 44 years old. So it looks like, Melanie, you
definitely caused by the lack of hormones, estrogen being one of them. It actually lubricates our joints. So if you have that joint pain when you're walking or running and you just feel like you can't exercise anymore, it may be a lack of hormones. Testosterone also helps with pain, but we found that in some studies that estrogen actually decreases the pain threshold for a lot of people, so that those people who have chronic back pain or chronic hip pain, by optimizing their hormones, specifically the estrogen, their pain levels went down and they didn't need as many pain pills or didn't need as much ibuprofen throughout the day.
Right. And
another major one is DHEA. DHEA, in many of the studies, it's an anti-inflammatory and the immune system, and it helps with cardiac and all that, but specifically joint pains. And you will see they're using high dose for pain for lupus for patients, you know, and fibromyalgia and all that. So a lot of people, when they start that, they're like, whoa, their joint pains get better. So I think it's important to remember when you optimize hormones, they all work together. Like the girls club, they all, you know,
exactly,
you can't leave one out. And you put them all together and you just get like a terrific effect.
And Catherine, I was going to ask you, as far as seniors go, you know, some senior citizens are in pain 24/7.
And so that's why some of our older clients have been benefiting by looking into functional medicine and getting their blood tests done and looking at this. And it's very confusing for seniors because a lot of times their general practitioner or other doctors aren't trained in this, and so they're getting conflicting information. We also have a lot of challenges with seniors that just get mad because this kind of wellness treatment is not covered by their Medicare.
Yes.
And so a big thing that we talk about is that see your insurance doctors for insurance things. Keep all those relationships, but have another doctor on the side that you're working with to optimize your health, and just getting second opinions on things. It can make tremendous difference, and it's really not that expensive.
All right, well, we have another question. This is a video question. This one's from Lisa, and she's 60 years old. Listen in.
What is the best way to filter misinformation about hormone replacement therapy? And what is the most efficient way to get fact-based information about ways to ease and even sometimes eliminate symptoms of menopause?
Very good question. And we kind of touched on that just a minute ago.
I think you identify the experts in your area.
Yeah, and there's so much misinformation out there, so it's hard to, you know, discern whether or not this is true or not, you know. So you need to talk to people, and when you find someone that's genuine and you match with them, because like she said, you should interview your providers, you know, because, you know, we might not all get along for everybody, but, you know, and do your own research, be your own advocate. And if we're treating you and you feel like something's not working out, you know, you need to tell us.
All right, well, we have one more video question. This one comes from Kayleen. She's 40 years old.
Hi, I have a question about menopause. So I feel like menopause gets a really bad rap, but I hear so many people who have gone through it and actually not had terrible side effects and symptoms. What advice would you give for somebody in perimenopause or already in menopause to make it the easiest process to go through?
Get on hormones.
It's not just the
I've learned a
symptoms,
lot.
it's the disease prevention and healthy aging. So there's other things that are occurring without hormones. So I tell people, don't be afraid of hormones, be afraid not to have hormones. So there's other things going on that it's going to come out later on.
Yeah, so when you stop, for instance, when you're in perimenopause, you'll go like 3 months without a period, and then you're back on track. And then you may have a hot flash here or there. I remember I had them for maybe 2 years, and all of a sudden, oh, they're gone. Okay, I made it through. Nope, because they came back with a vengeance.
It's the progesterone deficiency when you're perimenopausal, and you will convert your progesterone over to the amount of estradiol you need.
And as we wrap up our special, looking ahead to the future, what changes and advancements do y'all hope will come out of this in the future with hormone replacement?
I hope women are able to talk more openly about it and not feel ashamed that they're going through this, and be able to do research and speak up to their provider and get the help that they deserve.
Awareness.
Yeah, and more studies.
Well, my children are in their early to late 30s, and they see the changes, they see the benefits, and so they're already looking at hormone replacement therapy for themselves and how to optimize. And then the other thing is protein, strength training, exercise is so important, and these are the things that are going to keep you younger. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. It's the entire body, and has those different variables. You have to hit them all.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being here today. It's been so informative and just a lot of good information for everyone out there. So thank you, and I hope everybody will talk about it now over dinner or whatever, or over Pilates. That's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for watching and being here and help with changing our conversation. Have a great day.